Lesson. On with the lesson. I often share with you the perfection of spirit. That perfection shows up in my lesson today. The title, A Life Lived Well, was not it was my first idea. But then I thought, a life lived well kind of takes off on a life well lived. But the well lived is past tense to me. We often see it in someone's life biography. They lived well. Well, our book this month, The Call to Power, The Grandmothers Speak, and my title, I hadn't seen the book yet or read the book, but it reminded me of my grandmothers, and they had a life that was lived well. They also, in remembrance, had a well-lived life. Now, between a life lived well and a life well lived, can you see the difference in all that? Had you ever thought of it in those terms? I love words. I love words. I do love words. And I wonder a lot. Well, my grandmothers, they had their share of adversities and challenges and hardships. And I got to hear some of their words when I was a young child. They would pull me aside and they would, each of their own words, one would say about the other one, "Oh, look at her. She thinks she's hot stuff." She thinks she's hot stuff. Look at her with her fancy clothes. And look at her. So it caused me to look, for one. But they had a chance to express themselves, and I got a chance to see what littleness and ego can do in dynamics of family. And so part of this month's theme is getting your littleness out of the way, from the Sermon by the Sea. And when we set aside that littleness and ego, what we get to do is we get to claim our power through all of it. Well, today I'm here with perspectives and a few ideas to live well now, which seems difficult, doesn't it, now, to live through what's happening now, because we're having the perception and the reality of difficulties and challenges and some hardships. Well, for me, the number one for living well now is staying well. Living well means staying well, both in body and in mind. Now, they're not separate from each other, although we tend to compartmentalize them. What I know about the mind and the body through this teaching is that they're in divine balance and partnership. And nourishing both aspects, the body and the mind, manifests as wellness. And what I know diminishes the body and the mind is fear. And recently a lot of people are feeling scared, restricted, uncertain. And they're behaving out of those fears, aren't they? The evidence shows up in what's missing off the grocery store shelves. A lot of stuff. And it's quite the example to me of what people think they need in the outer world. Not a judgment, but it's just very telling to me that what brings us comfort in these times of fear and stress and uncertainty. Well, one of those products is made of paper. And as I was checking out of the grocery store recently, I asked one of the clerks, I said, what's with this lack of paper? He said, I don't know. I don't know really, but he said, if they only knew that every day we got a shipment of new. Which kind of reminds me of our teaching in that there's always enough. There's always enough of whatever we require if we live with faith and trust and certainty. Now I'm going to ask everybody in the world right now, what are you doing behavior-wise that has been different than before? What have you collected that you hadn't before? Is it different kinds of liquid medication? Or just what is it? Oh, okay. Okay, well, so what I've been doing is surrounding myself with music, nature. I do what's called hunkering in. It's a term my grandmothers shared with me when they weren't kind of biting at each other's stuff. Oh, tea. Thank you, Martha. You're collecting tea. All right. Tea party at Martha's house. Gonna come by for a tea bag. So now, it's very metaphorical for me. We hunker in, and not only the physical, but it's also a time to be with your inner self, to pull in, to comfort yourself, and a time for reflection of all that we're grateful for. All we're grateful for. I talked to Crystal this week in our office, and she was at home with her family, and just the laughter of her little one. There was so much joy. I don't know if because mommy is home more, I don't know. But there's that moment of delight that can happen when you're in a safe space with your loved ones.
Johnny is saying she's staying home and cleaning out things.
Oh, cleaning out things. That's good. She's clearing. So some gather, some clear. Good. For me, it's a perfect time to remember what my grandmothers taught. All of it. And to incorporate and set up new patterns for life, for a life lived well. Now, one grandmother lived on a farm, and she had cows and chickens and a great garden, both flower and produce. And we always had some of the best chicken and dumplings because we would go out and capture the chicken and go from there. Vegans, don't listen. Don't listen. Now, and so I love that kind of food. I love that kind of comfort food in my life. Now, the other one owned a cafe, and she and her husband, my step-grandfather, and they provided a lot of homemade foods like chili and cornbread and the best pancakes, and it's where I learned to love deep-fried pies. Anybody else? That was before Hostess. It was my grandmother's.
Tell us how to do that.
Okay, Grandma, come on. So, what were your favorite warm and fuzzies out there? What do you have some warm and fuzzies from your family that resonate with you at this time? I think it's important to draw those to you, those memories, to keep us nourished in that memory aspect too. There's foods, and there's activities like sports around your house, and there's board games and a puzzle. Those are things that, I could do.
Gardening.
There's gardening. Yeah. What else? What do you do? What are you doing now? Well, not now, but what will you do this afternoon as a result of today? Table Mountain. Beautiful, beautiful. Wide open spaces. You don't have to be holed in. You can hunker in different places. 2 days ago, I saw a young mother with her 3 children, and they were just driving along, laughing in the car, and I haven't seen that for a while. But you have to kind of go together now, which is kind of nice.
Sharon Sauls was saying figuring out technology.
Oh, figuring out technology, and I believe she has. Yeah. Learn something new every day. I believe right now is an opportunity to create a family gratitude practice. And the idea came to me out of our book this month, The Call to Power of the Grandmothers Speak. And it's on page 145 if you have the book or if you get the book. And the author, Sharon McElhaney, suggests, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I made that up. Make your life sacred. And what's the big part of that is creating a ceremony in your home. It's a mindful activity. And it's really, it's a call for it to be more present, I think, in the world today. There's been a lot of talk, out verbiage, and not all of it loving and supportive. There's been a lot of divisiveness in the world. And now is a perfect opportunity for us to come together, to live a more sacred to ourselves and our community life. And we're given time to think about that, aren't we? We are pulled away from a lot of the externals that might, or that have, drawn us away from some of those we've loved. It's been easy for me, if I'm not careful, to get drawn out into the world of cyber. And I love it. I love it. Of course we love it. Here we are. But there's a balance. There's a balance. She also says that ceremony brings pleasure into life. That you're missing the joy of life if you have no ceremony. And you struggle alone if you have no ceremony. So now is a great time to, if you're having a struggle, call here. Call the center. Call a practitioner. Call a friend and talk live. Beyond the text. Hear the voice. Share yours. When you talk live, it's felt in a different way. Well, my current ceremony, which has been for quite a while, and I changed parts of it, but upon arising and upon retiring, I give thanks for the day and what I am to receive and what I have received. And at the end of the day, I know and give great gratitude that I am divinely cradled as I sleep.
Sandy has a comment.
Sandy, okay.
Being in ceremony is opening to something greater.
Being in ceremony is opening to something greater. Thank you, Sandy. It's true. It's true.
And Sharon Sal's has that pie recipe.
Oh, she does.
Her aunt makes them.
Oh, okay. I could be there in, how about 4? Does that give you enough time? I love this. I love this. Okay, where can I be?
You said his neighbor bought him toilet paper.
See, his neighbor bought him toilet paper. Good job, Hugh. See, we're always supplied. We're always provided.
Sharon also says, yes, good long-term memories give nurturing and help us reset in adversity.
Good long-term memories help us reset in adversity. Very good. Very good. Yeah, we have to get a new pathway in our thinking and mind, and now's a good time to consider something greater for yourselves. So, if you have a practice, tell us about it. Message it now. Send us the message, and I'll give some little tidbits here. Do you meditate? Do you walk in Mother Nature? Do you play a board game? Those can be all meditative practices. If you don't currently have a ceremony of your own, now is the time to do one, to create one. Ask around. You may find one this morning through this. Who knows? So, one of my go-to everyday ceremonies is the Science of Mind magazine. Go ahead.
Clinton says fishing.
Oh, thank you, Clinton. Fishing. Wow, what kind of fish? We have fish and we have pies. We almost have a meal. This is like fishes and loaves.
Crystal Trimble says that one of the things that she's realizing is that it's really clear that she must care for herself more than ever.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. It's very clear that this Crystal needs to care a lot more for herself. Take good care of herself. Yes, yes. And now is a great opportunity. I mean, the awareness is curative, as we like to say here at the center. The awareness is the big thing, and then we could take action to accommodate that. And so, as I was saying, the science of mind is my go-to every day, and the Divine Feminine is the topic. What I know about the Divine Feminine is that it's the creative aspect of spirit. And it's the love, it's the feel, it's the emotion, and it's just really perfect timing. I'm just always taken with the profound wisdom of the writings in this particular volume. And this month has some great ones, and I'm going to share some of them because as I was reading through, there is a thread that comes to right here today and what I'm going to share with you. And it's just little tidbits from several different pages, several different days. And I'll begin on page 44. And if you have your Science of Mind magazine with you at home, feel free to take it out and to follow with me. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's at the top of the page. And I quote, "We need to realize that environment should never be allowed to make the man, but that man should always, and always can, condition the environment." And on page 45, by Ernest Holmes. Never let anything cause you to doubt your ability to demonstrate the truth. Then I jump to page 51 by Ernest Holmes. My thought is in control of my experience, and I can direct my thinking. Page 52 by Ernest Holmes. Expectancy is in control of my experience, and I can direct my thinking. Expectancy always speeds progress. Anticipation of better yet to come helps to dissolve the load of unbelief which we now carry with us. And on page 54, in Ernest Holmes' book, It's Up to You, competition is a belief that there is not enough good to go around. And while believed in, this thought manifests itself in limitation. Hasn't that all kind of followed through this month? And then on today's message in the Science of Mind magazine, I'm going to share 3. But the first is by Kristen Hunter. She says, first, it is necessary to stand on your own 2 feet. But the minute a man finds himself in that position, the next thing he should do is reach out his arms. Followed by Ernest Holmes' quote, as I love and cooperate with my fellow man, so does he love me and give his cooperation to me. Reach out with love. And the affirmation, as I help, I am helped in my growing awareness and embodiment of my oneness with all life. Perfect. So, some information just came to me yesterday. It's called the Grand Experiment. And there's an opportunity happening, I believe, this afternoon. If Reverend Kathy's watching, I would like an update on that. It's an online situation, I believe. But I captured this out of it. Change will not come to you. It will come through us when we are awake to the fullness of who we are and claim the beginning of a new humanity. Isn't that great? We have to awaken to the fullness of who we are and claim the beginning of a new humanity. And we're at that threshold, I believe, right now. The financial situation has taken a leveling, if you will. We have come into our oneness with ourselves in our so-called isolation. And we get the opportunity then to begin something new, not just with ourselves, but in the world. Because the world is a wide open space right now. The hearts are wide open. Some are saying ripped apart. To me, it's wide open. It's fresh soil for something new to be known, planted, and revealed. Okay, so beloveds, we stand right here in the midst of greatness. Our current environment is in transformation. Let's be proactive in consciousness by adding into the field of potentiality those ideas and beauties that we desire. What's next? What is next? It's up to you. It's up to me to begin the next right where you are claim. Claim the power of your divine ancestry. Claim that power. Stand on her shoulders and know you are cradled in love and peace and great vision. This is the opportunity for clarity, to take a stand, and to see something greater in this life. And so, as I move down into the closing aspect of this lesson today, I wish to share a reading. It's actually it's called Poetry Lovers List. It's an online thing. See, learning online. It's good. It's by Lynn Ungar, and it's called Pandemic. And it's recent, in the last few days. So I invite you to get comfortable and just hear the words and think about this for yourselves, because it's a call. It's a call for each one of us to, well, you'll understand. So take a breath and let's all take this in. Title, Pandemic. What if you thought of it as the Jews consider the Sabbath, the most sacred of times? Cease from travel. Cease from buying and selling. Give up, just for now, on trying to make the world different than it is. Sing. Pray. Touch only those to whom you commit your life. Center down. And when your body has become still, reach out with your heart. Know that we are connected in ways that are terrifying and beautiful. Know that our lives are in one another's hands. Surely that has come clear. Do not reach out your hands. Reach out your heart. Reach out your words. Reach out all the tendrils of compassion that move invisibly where we cannot touch. Promise this world your love, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, so long as we all shall live. Beautiful words. Beloveds, the greater truth is, you are blessed beyond measure. You are loved beyond measure. And you are worthy of a life lived well, right here, right now. And so it is. Namaste.